been the best Fontana race I have ever watched. Yes, I'm being serious. This next gen, or Gen 7 car, whatever you want to call it, NASCAR has smashed it in my opinion. So far, it's a 3 for 3. It was good racing on a short track in LA, great racing on a super speedway in Daytona, and on a speedway, a 2-miler, where Aero and, where the real season begins. It's A-. So we got some stuff that we gotta talk about, some issues with the next gen car, but overall it was a smash hit, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about for the second race of the season. The next gen car brought out everything. It brought out chaos, it brought out strategy, it brought out actual hard racing, brought out a lot of car drivers losing it a little bit, including teammates, and parity. Again, a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Now, based on what took place on Saturday between practice and qualifying, where so many drivers spun out, I think a total of maybe 7 or 8 cars, there was a lot of drivers that are going to the rear for unapproved adjustments. You had drivers like Harvick, Larson, Keselowski, Logano, Wallace, Justin Haley, all sent to the rear for unapproved adjustments, while Ross Chastain was sent to the rear due to a backup car. Now, Kurt Busch, he failed inspection 3 times on Friday, so that means he wasn't even able to qualify, and he had to serve a pass-through penalty at the beginning of the race. Now, stage 1 was dominated by 2 drivers that no one expected, Erik Jones and Tyler Reddick. Now, Erik Jones was able to get ahead of Austin Cindric and build to nearly about a second lead right away. Tyler Reddick started 11th, and by lap 8, he was already up into 2nd place. Now, with Reddick, I'm not surprised, and I don't think anyone else was surprised, considering the fact that this type of track, old, a worn-out racetrack, a lot of different lanes, and in a car with a package that promotes a car being difficult to handle, high horsepower, low downforce, it fit Reddick's driving style. So it's not a surprise to see him be out front, but still, very rare to see RCR show some type of speed at a track that's not Daytona or Talladega. So on lap 11, he was in 2nd, was able to drive up to Jones's bumper and pass him for the lead. Then was the beginning of issues for Cup Series champion Kyle Busch. Lap 15 was beginning of a lot of issues for Toyota. We're going to get that later on in the show, but Kyle Busch spins out by himself on lap 15, and then lap 23 on a restart, Chase Elliott comes to life, and he decides that he wants a shot at the lead and takes it away from Tyler Reddick. Then Chase Elliott had his own set of issues, but with no one else, with just himself and the outside wall. He gets into the wall in the lead not only once, but twice, but the second time did a lot more harm. He not only lost the lead, but would end up losing 5 positions and fell back into 6th place. Then later on, we go back to Kyle Busch. Remember, he spun on lap 15. Then he had more issues to deal with. He was reporting that he was overheating and water was spewing out of his car, and his pit crew had to get rid of debris that was inside. It was sand that was inside his car. Now, unlike with the old car, the Gen 6 car, where it was pretty simple to get rid of the stuff that was inside the car, the new car, the Gen 7 car, is a whole nother process going on. It's a much more complicated process to get rid of any foreign stuff that's in your car. And because of that, Kyle Busch went multiple laps down. At the same time that Kyle Busch was reporting those issues, Chase Elliott, remember, he smacked the wall and apparently was able to be good enough for him to cut a tire, spins out all by himself in turn 2 for the second caution. Now, Tyler Reddick, by this time, he was back on the front when he got past Chase Elliott when he hit the wall. Around this time, he had a very odd situation. He was reporting that his left leg, I believe, was numb. It was starting to go numb. The reason why, according to him, he jokingly said that he was probably working out too much and doing too many squats and outgrew his seats because there's like I think a 6-point or 8-point belt that you wear, and it goes one through the crotch, sides. It goes through all different parts of your body to keep you secured. And apparently one of them was cutting off a bit too much circulation from his left leg that allowed it to go numb. And it got so bad to the point where his crew actually provided him ibuprofen to help him deal with that issue. But it didn't have any effect on his right leg because he led the rest of the way and was able to win stage 1 for the 5th time in his career. Erik Jones in 2nd, Byron 3rd, Briscoe 4th, and Larson in the top 5. Then you have Alex Bowman, Joe Logano, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stage 2 had a great start. You had Tyler Reddick and Chase Briscoe, a new name now, coming towards the front, swapping the lead back and forth. Briscoe got out in front, led for a couple laps, but then Tyler Reddick came back on him, got on the inside, and stole the lead right back. He holds on it for a little bit, before Briscoe takes it right back. Again, the start of that stage was really fun to watch, and it's just one of numerous examples of incredible racing that happened throughout the race. We flash forward to lap 97. By this time, Tyler Reddick is now the race leader. Briscoe has now fallen from 1st to 5th place, and by lap 101, William Byron, he now is going to show some muscle. He wants to lead, gets underneath Reddick, and takes the lead before they enter turn 1. Then on 19 to go in the stage, Chris Buescher blew a tire in the middle of 1 and 2 and backs it into the wall for the caution. And then a little bit later, right after that, on a restart, Brad Keselowski got loose in the bump in coming off of turn number 4, slides up. Logano just bumps into him. Wasn't intentional, but it does end up causing Keselowski to spin, bringing out the 7th caution. And then on a final restart in stage 2, Eric Jones, who he had an incredible takeoff speed. On a restart, he was just flying, but again, Reddick had the better car. Didn't take much. 1 lap later, Reddick was back out in front, and he would lead all the way up till stage 2. Jones 2nd once again. 3rd is Logano. 4th, Blaney Larson, the top 5 again. Cole Custer 6th, Austin Cindric 7th, Almirola 8th, Byron 9th, and Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. Now for stage 3, at this point in time, at the beginning, was all Tyler Reddick. He led the entire way, and it looked like as though this would be a battle between Reddick and Eric Jones, 2 drivers that no one had an idea of that they would be in contention for the win, but it seemed as though these were the 2 best drivers of the field. Until on lap 152, catastrophe strikes for Reddick. Going into turn number 1, he automatically just blows a left rear tire, and to make matters worse, then coming off of turn 2, William Byron, trying to avoid it, gets loose, slides up, and sideswipes Tyler Reddick before going into the outside wall nose first to bring out the caution. This causes both cars to have incredible damage and both basically take them out of the race. We follow that up with another caution on the restart with 42 to go in turn 2 once again. Bubba Wallace comes up, loses the nose, Keselowski comes down, they make contact, Keselowski spins, creating a 4-car pileup including Bubba, but it also involves Harrison Burton once again caught up in a wreck for the 2nd week in a row, and Austin Cindric, who was on the pole for the 10th caution. Now around this time, Joey Logano comes to life. He's now making his way up towards the front, becoming a factor in the late stages of this race, and he was the leader with around 35 to go before Larson took the lead right back 1 lap later. Yes, even also Larson now, somehow, who was a top 5, top 6 car all race long, now all of a sudden, he's in the mix for the lead. Then with 28 to go, Ross Chastain spins to bring out the caution. Now Briscoe stays out while everyone else pits, which was a pretty dumb decision in my opinion, because staying out on worn tires at Fontana nonetheless is just a recipe for disaster. And exactly like that, it took 1 turn for him to go from 1st to like 10th. He was just gone in an instant. And so now you had 2 Hendrick cars of Larson and Elliott and Logano, the top 3. Other Hendrick teammate, Alex Bowman, he had issues by himself. He got into the wall in turns 3 and 4 and brought it down onto pit road. By this time, we had a very eye-raising or eyebrow-raising moment. So you had Logano and Larson. They were battling side by side for the lead. Elliott gets a huge run off of turn 4, goes to the outside. Larson then just comes up and puts Elliott into the wall. Larson said he didn't see him, but it doesn't make the situation any better. Elliott suffered pretty good damage on the right side. Even with these composite bodies, still, he suffered a lot of damage to the right side of his car, and it didn't take much. A few laps later, with 10 to go, spins in turn 1 to bring out the 12th caution. This sets up a very fun 4-lap shootout with Larson and Daniel Suarez, who had an incredible pit stop in and out to put him in 2nd place with a shot at winning the race. So Larson gets a big push from Joey Logano entering turn 1 to take the lead, but look on the inside. Logano's trying to make it through wide on the outside, but on the inside, Daniel Suarez gets a good launch off of the corner. He's able to get side by side, but not only that, he's able to get ahead of Kyle Larson and is able to clear him entering turn 3. Before Joey Logano makes a move to the inside to make it a 3-wide battle, Logano loses it. Daniel Suarez also loses some speed. Larson keeps the lead just for a little bit, coming to 3 to go. But then you see Eric Jones give Suarez a huge push down the front stretch. That allows Suarez to get a ton of momentum, closes right up to Larson, jumps to the inside. They side by side entering turn 1 before Suarez gets out just in front. He slides up a little bit before he steals the lead from Larson with 3 laps to go. Now you have Suarez out in front. He jumps to the inside. Larson goes up top in turns 3 and 4. Larson gets a huge run of momentum, comes up to Suarez, jukes down low, side by side, coming to 2 to go. Larson clears Suarez just as they cross the start finish line, and that would be it. Larson would go on to win at California for his first win of 2021. Not before Austin Dillon gave him a bit of a challenge for the lead, but yeah, Larson, it doesn't matter. Different car, different drivers in contention. It does not matter. Larson somehow is still able to get out in front to win, like I said, for the first time in his career. His second time at California, at Fontana, I should say, and his 17th career Cup Series win. And I believe this is his 5th win in the last 7 Cup races, or even including last year. So still, the defending Cup champion, his momentum has not stopped. But yeah, Kyle Larson wins, Austin Dillon in second. How about Eric Jones? An incredible weekend for that Petty GMS team. Started second, led 18 laps, I think in 5 or 6 different occasions to come home in third. Daniel Suarez started 15th, Logano 7th. Eric Almirola spun in qualifying, was 31st. And so was able to come home in 6th place. Kevin Harvick, he had an average running position of 20.3 and still was able to come home in 7th place. He also crashed in practice, started 32nd. Kurt Busch started dead last and had a pass-through penalty to start the race, still ends up 8th. Hemrick in 9th in that colleague racing team, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. comes home in 10th. He also had a really strong car. And here's a look at the other results. He had Austin Cindric in 12th, Truex 13th. Kyle Busch, after all of his issues, still was able to come home 14th. Hamlin is somewhat quiet, 15th. Briscoe even. He was competitive up towards the early portions of the race, still ends up 16th. Blaney in 18th, I should say. Ty Dillon in 17th. Bubba Wallace, even when he was involved in that crash, was still able to salvage a top 20 finish, with Gilliland rounding out in 20th place. Smithley, BJ McLeod, 23rd. Justin Haley, Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Corey LaJoie, Ross Chastain, Josh Bilicki, the top 30, and then Michael McDowell, Cody Ware, Harrison Burton, William Byron, Chris Buescher, and Christopher Bell. They round out the 36 car field. Okay, we got some stuff to talk about. First of all, the racing. Oh my goodness. I was skeptical. There were a lot of people that out there, including me, that were saying, okay, this is the first real start. Because Fontana, yes, it's a bit different because of how old the track is, but still very aero dependent, or still aero plays a big role in it. But man, the racing, it felt like an early 2000s NASCAR race. The parity was incredible. The drivers that I mentioned, I mean, you had, there was 32 lead changes between 9 different leaders. Those 32 changes was the most at Fontana since 2014, 8 years ago. That is amazing to have that many lead changes. And then, like I said, the parity. Eric Jones. Who expected Eric Jones to have any speed? Reddick, still, he's in an RCR car. No one expected him to have that good of speed. I mean, Chase Briscoe, he led some laps. He was competitive. Austin Dillon near the end was in position to win. Daniel Suarez also in position to win. I mean, it was incredible. Daniel Hemrick finished 9th. Cole Custer, 11th. These drivers that you don't expect to be up front, here they were battling for the win. It was incredible. And even though Reddick and Jones, they were the stars, especially in stage 1 and 2, there was great racing throughout the race, throughout the entire race, throughout the entire field. A part of that has to do with the fact of Fontana and the characteristic of that racetrack, but still, the next gen car, so far, is doing an incredible job in terms of on-track product. It didn't seem that dirty air was still a factor, but it didn't seem as much of a factor. You could race side by side because there were a couple of onboard cameras that we saw of them, 2 cars racing side by side, and they were able to keep up. They didn't automatically get loose and nearly lost the thing. They were able to keep up still with the driver on the outside, and even the leader didn't get that much of an advantage. I mean, we saw it time and time again. Drivers were able to, if they had a faster car, they were able to close up on the leader and pass him. Unlike in previous packages, especially the final years of the Gen 6 car, where if you were out in front, you were God. Now, next thing we got to talk about is Toyota. They were just off. So off today. I mean, we talked about Kyle Busch spinning, and he had overheating issues. Christopher Bell, Hamlin, and Kurt Busch also all were reporting overheating issues, very similar to Kyle Busch. Then you have Christopher Bell spinning, spinning in the racetrack, and he gets towed and goes 4 laps down. And then you see he ends up dead last after he goes to the garage. Ends up dead last. Kyle Busch, later on in the race, had a tire go down. I mean, it was extremely odd to see Toyota struggle the way they did. And for Kurt Busch to still, after all that, come home in 8th, it was really, really impressive. Also, a huge shout out to, like I said, Kevin Harvick. Had an average running position of outside the top 20. Somehow comes home in 7th. I don't know how. Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole, really outside of Chase Briscoe, showed no speed, and you still had Almirola 6th, Harvick 7th, and Cole Custer in 11th place. What? So we talked about the good stuff. We talked about great racing, a lot of parity, and incredible battles throughout the entire race. We talked about Toyota struggles, but we have to talk about the one huge issue with the Gen 7 car, the next gen car. Flat tires. 3 different situations. Now, NASCAR did say that they hope to have an issue or a solution to this by next week, but you had Chris Buescher. When he spun, had that flat tire, out of the race. And for a flat tire, there was barely any damage, but boom, out of the race. Christopher Bell, he had other issues, but still, when he spun, he had to get towed. He had a flat tire, and he had to get towed back to pit road, and was 4 laps down. Ross Chastain, 3 laps down, because he spun, had a flat tire, had to get towed back. I understand the reason why for this is because there's no inner liners. Once a tire goes down, it goes down right down to the core. Unlike with inner tires or inner liners, when that tire cuts back then, you still had that inner part of that tire, so you still was able to drive back to pit road. That's all gone now. They need to fix this because it's absolutely ridiculous for a driver to spin by himself. Yeah, have a flat tire. You should go maybe 1 lap down, not 4. It is absolutely ridiculous. The issue that I have with it was the fact that apparently this was known since last year that this was going to be an issue, and the fact that there has been no solution to this is ridiculous. Practice was the same thing in qualifying. So many drivers that spun, no damage, but cut a tire and had to get towed back. There needs to be a solution to this because this cannot carry on forever. In fact, this cannot carry on next week. All right, when we go to Vegas, this cannot carry on. But that's my only issue with the next gen car. Outside of that, NASCAR, you smashed it with the next gen car. The crowd for Fontana was incredible. The atmosphere was amazing. The racing was great. The finish was fun. It was just overall an awesome race. And I think an awesome start to the season. I mean, 3 incredible races. The Busch Clash, so fun to watch. The 500 was a really great race. And Fontana was. I'm excited for Vegas. I never thought I'd say those words. I'm excited for a 1.5 mile race. You know how crazy you have to be excited for a 1.5 mile race in 2022 in NASCAR? That's a good sign with this next gen car, and I am super excited for that. I would give this race 8.5, 9 out of 10. I'm gonna dock some points for those tire issues, but other than that, I love the race and the broadcast. Fox actually did really good. Commercials weren't overdone. The chemistry between Kenseth, Boyer, and Mike Joy was really good. The cameras was actually good. They actually showed the racing. It was weird. Everything was good. There was, again, the flat tires. That was the one bad part, but generally, really, everything was just good from about the entire race. From the broadcast to the racing to just to everything. The sound of the cars, the look of the cars. Everything was just amazing. It was just awesome to watch. So yeah, 8.5, 9 out of 10. This race smashed it. I am so looking forward to next weekend at Vegas. But now this begs the question about the future of Fontana. Because originally there were reports that were going to be saying that this was going to be converted to a short track. I'm pretty sure after this race, those tracks are going to be put on hold. At least for a little bit. But I'm excited for the rest of the NASCAR season. It should be a lot of fun to watch. But still, Kyle Larson, I mean, Jesus, man, you cannot stop that guy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what situation, he somehow is able to come out and win the race. And what's interesting about this is that I still don't know who has the advantage. I mean, yeah, we're 1 race in. But still, I don't know who has the advantage. RCR looks strong. Petty GMS looks strong. Hendrick looks strong. Toyota sucked. And it was weird. JTG, Stenhouse was strong. I don't know. That's the beauty about it. That's the beauty about the season so far. So, yeah, congratulations to Kyle Larson. He is your winner. from Fontana. I am excited. I cannot wait for next weekend at Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on this race? Tell me in the comment section down below. But until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And congratulations to Kyle Larson, your winner at Fontana. We'll see you in Vegas.